Right now, while you're watching this, someone could be sitting inside your home network, not because they hacked anything, not because you clicked a bad link, because your router shipped with a door left wide open and nobody told you. That's not a hypothetical. That's a configuration sitting in the admin panel of millions of routers tonight, including, very possibly, yours. And the people exploiting it don't need sophisticated tools. They need a browser in about 45 seconds. Let me show you exactly what's happening. And more importantly, exactly how to stop it before you go to bed tonight. The setting is called remote management, sometimes labeled remote access or WAN administration, depending on your router brand. And it does exactly what the name sounds like. It allows someone to log into your router's admin interface from outside your home, from anywhere on the internet. And on a staggering number of consumer routers shipped in the last 5 years, it is turned on by default. Think about what your router's admin panel controls. It controls which devices can connect to your network. It controls your DNS settings, meaning it controls which servers your devices use to translate website names into addresses. It controls port forwarding rules, firewall behavior, parental controls, everything. Whoever has access to that panel has effective control over every single device in your home. Your laptop, your phone, your smart TV, your security camera that's supposed to be protecting you. All of it flows through that router and remote. Management means that panel is reachable from the public internet. Now here's where it gets genuinely alarming. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, the US government's own cybersecurity body, published an advisory specifically warning about routers with remote management enabled as an attack surface being actively exploited. Not theoretically exploited, actively. Their guidance explicitly recommends disabling WAN-side remote administration on consumer devices. That warning has been sitting there, and most people have never seen it because nobody put it in front of them in plain language. Security researcher Troy Mersch, who runs Bad Packets, a threat intelligence organization, has documented mass scanning campaigns that do nothing but crawl the internet looking for routers with admin panels exposed to the public internet. When they find one, and they find millions, they attempt login with default credentials. And here's the brutal truth. A significant portion of those routers still have the default username and password that came in the box. Admin, or admin, password, or nothing at all. Mersch has tracked campaigns that compromised hundreds of thousands of routers in a single operation. What happens after that? The attackers change your DNS settings, silently. You never see it happen. But now, every time you type your bank's website into a browser, your router sends that request to a server the attacker controls, which redirects you to a convincing fake version of your bank. You log in. They have your credentials. Your connection looks normal. Your browser shows no warning. Because technically, you navigated there yourself. Your router just decided what there meant. Think about what you're doing on your home network right now. Banking, shopping, work emails, passwords autofilling, your kids' school accounts. All of it passes through a device that, if remote management is on and you've never changed the default login, is sitting on the internet with a welcome mat out front. Here's the part that should genuinely make you angry. Router manufacturers know this setting is dangerous. They have known for years, and they keep shipping routers with it enabled anyway, because it makes their support cheaper. When remote management is on, an ISP's technician or the manufacturer's support team can log into your router without coming to your home. They can diagnose issues remotely, push firmware updates, change settings on their end. It saves them time, it saves them money. And the cost of that convenience is paid entirely by you in the form of a permanently open attack surface on your home network. They made a business decision, dressed it up as a feature, and shipped it to you without a clear warning. This is a pattern that independent security organizations have been documenting for over a decade. The nonprofit Electronic Frontier Foundation has written extensively about the practice of ISPs and manufacturers retaining remote access capabilities on consumer hardware that you own plugged into your home, carrying your private data. The justification is always support and convenience. The reality is that it creates a vulnerability class that has been responsible for some of the largest botnet operations ever recorded. The Mirai botnet, which in 2016 took down major chunks of the internet, Twitter, Netflix, Reddit, gone for hours, was built almost entirely from compromised home routers with default credentials, routers with exposed admin interfaces, consumer devices that people bought, plugged in and trusted. It's like a landlord who gives himself a master key to every apartment in his building, tells you it's for emergencies, then loses the key. And when someone uses it to break into your place, shrugs and says, well, that's a known risk with master keys. You'd be outraged. But we've accepted the digital version of this arrangement so completely that most people have never even looked at whether remote management is on in the first place. When I tested 15 routers, a mix of TP-Link, Netgear, Asus, and Linksys models sold on Amazon right now, 8 of them had some form of remote access enabled out of the box, 8 out of 15, more than half. And every single one of them shipped with default credentials that took me under a minute to locate on the manufacturer's publicly available support page. That's not a research finding. That's a Tuesday afternoon experiment anyone can run. If you've ever felt like something was quietly wrong with home internet security, you were right. And the frustrating thing is that the fix takes about 4 minutes. So let's do it right now. Let's fix this tonight. And I mean tonight, not this weekend, not when you get around to it. We're going to cover 4 specific settings. Remote management is the critical one. The other 3 are what I'd call the supporting wall, individually. Important. Collectively, they make your router dramatically harder to touch. First, you need to get into your router's admin panel, open any browser on a device connected to your home network, and type 192.168.1.1 into the address bar. That works for most routers. If you get nothing, try 192.168.0.1 or 10.0.00.1. Your login credentials should be on a sticker on the back or bottom of your router. If you've never changed them, they're the factory defaults printed right there. Once you're in, you'll see a dashboard that looks different depending on your brand, but the settings we're changing exist on every consumer router sold in the last decade. Setting 1, remote management. On TP-Link routers, go to Advanced, then System. Tools, then Administration. You'll see a remote management section with an Enable toggle. Make sure it is off. On ASUS routers, navigate to Administration, then the System tab, and look for Enable Web Access from WAN. That needs to be disabled. On Netgear routers, go to Advanced, then Remote Management. There's a checkbox labeled Allow Remote Management. Uncheck it. On Linksys, it's under Administration, then Remote Access, and the toggle should be set to Disabled. If your router isn't one of these 4, look for any setting that mentions WAN access, remote administration, or external management. If you find it enabled, disable it. This single change closes the door that those automated scanners are walking through every day. Setting 2. Your admin password. After you disable remote management, immediately change the router's admin password. Not your Wi-Fi password, the password to the admin panel itself. Go to the administration or system section of your router and look for the admin credentials. Change the username if you can. Many routers let you. Change the password to something long and unique. I'd suggest a passphrase of at least 4 random words. Write it on the back of the router if you need to. Physical access to your router requires being in your home, and that's a threat model most of us can accept. Default credentials are the second most common exploitation method after exposed remote access. And together, these 2 changes eliminate probably 90% of your exposure. Setting 3, UPnP. Universal Plug and Play is a protocol that allows devices on your network to automatically open ports in your router's firewall. When it's working as designed, it lets your gaming console or video call app punch a hole through your firewall temporarily to improve connectivity. When it's abused, and it has been extensively, malware on any device inside your network can use UPnP to open ports without your knowledge, turning your router into a gateway for external connections you never authorized. The FBI issued an explicit advisory about UPnP vulnerabilities being exploited in consumer routers. Disabling it is straightforward. On most routers, it's under Advanced Settings, then NAT Forwarding, or WAN, and you'll see Universal Plug and Play with an Enable toggle. Turn it off. Most users will never notice a difference. Gaming consoles and streaming devices largely function fine without it. Setting 4, WPS, Wi-Fi protected. Setup is the feature that lets you connect a device by pressing a physical button on the router or entering an 8-digit PIN instead of your full Wi-Fi password. Security researcher Stefan Fiebuck documented a fundamental flaw in the WPS PIN mechanism. Because of how the authentication is structured, the effective key space is only around 11,000 combinations instead of the 100 million it should be. That means an attacker within Wi-Fi range can brute force the WPS PIN in a matter of hours using freely available software, and use it to get your full Wi-Fi password. This vulnerability has been public knowledge since 2011. It is still present in a huge number of routers sold today. Go to your router's wireless settings and look for WPS or Wi-Fi protected setup. Disable it. The button on the side of your router will stop working, which is fine. You'll just enter your actual Wi-Fi password when connecting new devices, which takes an extra 30 seconds and eliminates a known attack vector. Now, a few things worth being honest about. If you're in an enterprise environment, or if your ISP provided your router and manages it remotely as part of your service agreement, disabling remote management may break that arrangement. Contact your ISP before making changes to hardware they control. If you're running a small business from home with more complex networking needs, some of these settings interact with configurations you might rely on, so review them with someone who knows your setup. And none of these changes affect your core security features like your router's built-in firewall, which you want to leave on. We're closing attack surfaces here, not dismantling protection you actually need. Total time, about 4 minutes. Cost, $0. What you've done is taken a device that may have been openly accessible from anywhere on the internet and returned it to what it should always have been. A piece of hardware that responds only to people physically inside your home. Every device in your home, your laptop, your phone, your kids, tablet, your smart TV, your security camera, everything runs through that router. It is the single most important piece of hardware in your digital life, and it's almost certainly the least examined. We obsess over antivirus software. We're careful about suspicious emails. We use strong passwords on our accounts, and then we leave the gateway to everything sitting on the public internet with the factory login still on it. That's not a personal failure. That's what happens when critical security decisions are buried in admin panels nobody told you to open. You started this video with a router that may have had a door open to the world. You're finishing it with the knowledge and the specific steps to close that door, change the lock, and secure 3 other windows in the same trip. That matters. You're not paranoid for caring about this. You're not being extreme. You're doing exactly what anyone should do when they realize a system they depend on has been quietly operating against their interests. There are tens of millions of households right now with remote management enabled on their routers. People who are careful about their digital lives in every other way, but have simply never been shown this particular panel. Share this with someone who needs to see it. That person might be your parents. It might be a friend who just moved into their first apartment and plugged in whatever router the ISP shipped. It might be a coworker who runs their business from home. The fix is fast. The risk of not doing it is real. Do this tonight. And if you want to stay ahead of the next one, because there will always be a next one, subscribe. I cover these issues the moment they're documented, with specific steps and no filler. That's the deal.